Best scores.
What is up, you guys? It is Dre the Great here, and welcome back to another, yet again, combat sports related video, as you can tell by the title. And obviously the topic is going to be the Jon Jones Dana White beef, because there's more to it than meets the eye, you know what I'm saying? So let's break it down here. First of all, if you're new, leave a like, subscribe, tell your friends, because we're the most versatile channel on the tube. But moving on, Jones and Dana White, right? So here's the story here. Jones wants to be compensated. According to sources that I've heard from, he wanted around 10 million, for a fight, a mega fight, and I'm guessing this was Francis, right? Because he's the greatest of all time, in my opinion. And that's debatable, of course. But that's the story. Dana White basically said no. And keep in mind here that they don't talk face to face. He talks to Dana's lawyer. I forgot the man's name, I apologize, but he talks to him, and he gives him the info to Dana. He gives the info to Dana of what Jon says, and Dana just said, you don't sell the tickets, you don't have the numbers. Jones basically said, fuck the numbers, I want the money. And Dana said no, and he basically said, put your money where your mouth is, release me from my contract, all right? And Dana hasn't shown any really sign of compromise. He hasn't shown any emotion to where we would think, oh, he's willing to compromise. He even said on one of the post fights, I believe it was UFC 250, he says, I don't give a fuck, I don't care. So basically they're both, in my opinion, not handling the situation very well. But the bigger problem here is fighter pay. So first of all, you don't have to give him 10 million, meet him halfway, because from sources that I've gotten, Jon, he earns an average of $500,000 per fight. 500,000 for the greatest of all time. To me, that's underpaid. That's undercompensation for someone that's at that high of a level, taking that high of a risk in every fight he takes. World-class opposition every time. Has to pay the bills every time. I believe he deserves more compensation. That's my opinion. And there's one unicorn, and that's Conor McGregor. That guy's, let's remove him from this universe, because he's in a different universe of his own. As far as business, as far as profit, he's in a different realm. He can mess with the boxing stars. That's how big he is. So let's keep him out of here, because he's kind of an outlier. He's an outlier, if you know what I'm saying. He's just way out there. So he's just the golden goose of combat sports, period, in a way. He almost is combat sports. But moving on, in my opinion, I believe fighters are underpaid as well, because they take this risk, life or death risk, in a way. I don't know, most people don't die from the UFC fights, but it's still a risk either way. Your health is on the line every single time. Anything can happen at any time. I believe they should meet halfway, maybe give him 5 million, give him a guaranteed 5 million, 4 million, 6 million, something like that. And I guarantee Jon will be okay with that if he sees compromise. But when you see the UFC president saying, I don't care, it leaves a bitter taste in your mouth. I believe they're both not handling it very well, first of all. But Dana, when he's asked about fighters, even about the COVID situation, I don't know, I know it's COVID, but he's basically said, you don't have to fight if you don't want to fight. Like, to him, it doesn't really matter. Like, the idea of paying more is just not realistic to him. As far as what I can tell from reading him, his body language, obviously his words that have been said by him, it doesn't really matter to him, And that's a problem to me, because fighters are in there making you money. ESPN gave you $750 million, and you're telling me you can't raise the standards, raise the pay for these fighters? $500,000 a fight, a show, and Jon fights, 3 times a year? There's rookies in the NFL, rookies that haven't even proven themselves yet, that earn more. NBA players, rookies, earn way more than that. There's some rookies. Zion Williamson, I'm guaranteeing he's earning more than that. All his 3 fights combined, probably. He's probably earning millions a year already. So you're willing to tell me here that you're not willing to pay the greatest of all time more money. That's just not a good look, UFC. It's not a good look, Dana. It's not a good look, This is about people's livelihoods, man. They got bills to pay. They got families to go back to. You know, you're not willing to raise, the pay. You know, I understand the pay-per-view numbers, but John's right there. Connor's obviously, like I said, number one by far. Two would be what, Masvidal, Khabib, and then Jones is right there. So I don't understand why you can't compromise here. And keep in mind, I don't know all the whole story. We don't know, what happens behind the scenes. Maybe they did compromise, and maybe he still said no. But I'm guessing that didn't happen. Knowing the man that Dana is, the pride that he has. Now let's go to Jones' side here. He's got to understand, this isn't boxing. Numbers of pay-per-view just aren't the same. I understand that. So that's why I'm saying meet in a middle ground. And to furthermore touch up on the beef, Jones basically said, "Why are you tarnishing my name?" And Dana responded saying, "I think you did a good job yourself doing that." Fair point, because John has messed up many, many times. So the question is here, what happens next? In my opinion, Jones should compromise, so should Dana. Put their prides aside and get this job done. Get the Francis fight. That would be an amazing fight. Easily make a couple $1 million. Easily. And compromise with John and Francis. Give John $5 million, Francis whatever, a few million as well. And make a hell of a dope card. Make a hell of a card for that fight. Maybe Usman Masvidal. I have heard actually that Burns and Usman's gonna be the fight. Masvidal was pissed about the situation. They didn't compromise. They probably didn't give him a big enough number, and now it's gonna be Burns versus Usman. Here's another situation where I believe a guy should be paid. Masvidal is huge, maybe the second biggest star, maybe the third, if you count Khabib and Conor being first and second. It's bizarre. It's really bizarre how the UFC is so reluctant to pay more. I don't know, maybe something that we don't know, that the UFC knows. I don't know. I understand in times they're tough right now for every business in every field of profession, everywhere, because of, the current situation. With Corona and all this other stuff, riots, and just so much chaos that has been, happening in the world and in the U.S. specifically. But yeah, this beef is just you should open your eyes more to the real problem here, which is underpay. Fighters being underpaid. That's just where we are, The UFC has to catch up with the rest of these major sports organizations. The NBA, the NFL, the MLB, even boxing. Boxing, is different. It's not exactly an organization, but fighters are paid handsomely, So that's where we are. The UFC has to pay more if they want fighters to be willing to fight. You're telling me a prospect that hears about this, let's say he's a stud, he's going to go to the UFC, that was his dream. You're telling me he's still going to want to go after seeing this bullshit, not paying the greatest of all time more money? Come on, man. It's not a good look. You want future stars? You got to pay your fighters more. You got to look presentable. You got to raise your standards. I hear fighters don't even get benefits, bro. That's what I hear. They don't even get benefits. What kind of shit is this? What are they, fucking freelance? They're under contract, man. Raise your standards. That's my opinion. Maybe something I don't know, like I said, but from what I know, you got to raise your standards. If you can't pay the greatest of all time as money, then what the hell's going to happen? What's going on here? What's the problem? What is the problem here? It's bizarre. It's bizarre. But like I said, John shouldn't be saying all this stuff of putting money where your mouth is, because Dana is prideful enough to do the damn thing, and we need John in the sport. Just like we need Conor, just like we need Khabib, Usman, Masvidal. We need you guys to keep the sport rolling, to keep it growing, be a voice instead of, getting the pride get in the way. But yeah, those are my thoughts on this beef. It's just opens your eyes to the unfair treatment of the fighters, and that's just my opinion. It's bizarre, it's unfair, it's unjust. Dana White, need to put your pride aside and think more about these fighters and their families. There's literally a guy, a few fights, I think it was on the Woodley Burns card, that was crying. And he won his fight. And you know why he was crying? because he didn't get the bonus, so he has to go back to work the next day. He didn't get the fight bonus or performance of the night or whatever, one of those. So he has to go back to fucking work the next day after being in a fucking war. Are you kidding me? You got a guy crying after he wins a fight because you don't want to pay him more money. That's bizarre. It's bizarre to me. It's bullshit. And I think something should change. You know? Maybe the fighters should start a strike or some shit. I don't know. And to be fair, I would hate that because I want to see fights. But they have to be paid accordingly, compensated justly. So I'm okay with not going without fights for a while if that's what it has to be. You know, something has to change. Dana, God damn it, do something, man. You know you can. You got a voice. You're the president of the UFC, for fuck's sake. Do something about it. It's a shame to me, man. It's a real shame. And I hope something happens very, very soon. But yeah, man, I think that's all my rant. Basically, it's just a rant, but also I thought I had to bring this up because this is just insane to me. But I hope something changes. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you disagree completely, please let me know and let me know why. You know. But yeah, guys, I love you all. If you enjoyed, leave a like, leave a comment on anything you want to say, something else you want me to do for another video. And this is Jay the Great signing out. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.